Hi, class. I wanted to review with you how to choose a topic. Some of you said that you were having some issues figuring out your topic or maybe where to find someone to interview. Whenever you're looking for topics, you want to think about things you already know, things you might care about and maybe want to do a little more research on, and also things your audience might care about. Now, for most of you, the easiest way to interview someone will probably be finding someone close to UL, or maybe if you know someone to, we'll get into kind of sorting through people in just a little bit. So, first of all, when you're looking at topics, what do you already know? What interests you already? Are you into MMA or football? Or maybe you're really into basketball and you're watching March Madness, or you're into music and you want to talk about a particular band or genre or something. You could also talk about things in your everyday life, maybe gardening, or when you notice something different at the grocery store, maybe you notice there was an increase in prices for pork or for shrimp or something, or maybe you're trying to use eco-friendly cleaners, or you're cooking or something. Think about the things you interact with every day and use those as a jumping off point for looking either for topics or finding a maybe a new variation on something that comes up often for you or for people you know. You can also look at trending topics. So that means hashtags on social media, or you can always even Google search a hashtag or use another search engine, check trending topics, look at anniversaries. Is it close to the anniversary of something? Is there maybe a particular event that happens every year and you want to talk about it because it's either coming up or it's happening right now? You could also look at current events. Are there any local news stories that catch your interest, or maybe something in national or international news that you know someone related to that field and you want to talk to them about their take on that particular story? And you also want to think about what your audience knows, of course, and see if maybe there's something related to what they like. Maybe you want to look at UL students or UL teachers, or if you want to see if maybe people who go, there's something maybe related to people who go jogging every day, or there's something in from your hometown, or maybe within your demographic or your parents' demographic. You know, you have to kind of search through things and look for stuff. It isn't going to just be readily available all the time. It's part of how you go through this information, and you're looking to see what's missing and what you can add to it and who you can contact to kind of help you fill in the gaps. You're also looking at, of course, our foci remember from the beginning of class: fame, oddity, conflict, immediacy, impact. All of those things will change a perspective on a story. You might want to adjust something so you're focusing on a particular element of a story. And if if you even want to use like locally famous people, or if you have if there's anything, especially if there's something that's happening right now and you feel like it's important and you want to highlight it, that would be another way to look for information. You also can use thematic beats. Again, we're looking at seasonal topics. So spring is happening right now, anniversaries, maybe anything that's relevant to our current location, or maybe a place that you frequent every spring, or if you want to talk about something in certain social spheres. You can look at all these things, and what you do is you find stories talking about them, and then you ask yourself what's missing, and you go in and see if you can fill in those missing elements. Where are you looking? We're looking at local, national, and international news sites. You can look at radio, newspapers, government websites can often be a great help. They have to post agendas and talk about things that happened at previous meetings that might affect something in the future. So look at those sites, look at the UL website. I mean, let's take a look at that right now, and you can see what UL is highlighting. So of course they have their little banner thing at the top, and they still have their quick link to the COVID-19 information. And they have news and events listed here. So you can go through these and see if maybe there's an event you want to highlight, or if there's a news story. Now, if we're looking at adding to one of these news stories, so their news stories really are press releases written by someone at the university, and they're talking about something related to a recent thing that where UL was involved. In this case, they're discussing ecological impacts of hurricanes. And you can read through here. You aren't limited to just the people mentioned in the story. You can often look through. So like in this case, you might see they mention Dr. Beth Stouffer, and you can look up this person. So let's see where she is. She is in the Department of Biology. And she has a lab as well, it looks like. So she hasn't updated this part since February, but what you can do is you can go through everything in here and see if there's something that catches your eye, or you can click on the Department of Biology link, since she is in the Department of Biology. And if you look up here, they have a faculty and staff page. Now, all of these people are in this department. Some of them may have additional information related to that project, or maybe they have their own projects that are very similar. So talk to them. You aren't limited to just these people, but this is an example of how you would go about looking for not only a story, but people you can interview related to a particular story. And you can see it really didn't take that much time. Whenever I looked at this story, the title sounded pretty good. You can read a couple of sentences and figure out whether or not it's something you might find interesting. And what I do a lot of times, especially if I'm pressed for time, I'll kind of look for quotation marks or anything. In this case, since I know this is a press release from UL, I'm looking for UL Lafayette mentions in the article, because it'll usually highlight the people who are involved from our area. And it makes it a lot faster for you to see, oh yeah, is this something I find interesting? Or is this someone I could possibly contact? Or are they on sabbatical right now? What's going on? And of course, I mean, you really do need to read your sources, see what information they have available, do any pre-research before you start talking to someone. But this is a quick way for you to see if it's something you can do right now, or if you need to maybe keep this information on hold and look at it a little later. Now, you also have places, of course, like the Lafayette Consolidated Government website, or if you want to look at your local library, Library of Congress, we can even go on social media. So let's look at the Lafayette Public Library, since they do have a location within the vicinity of UL. Now, they actually have an events page, and you can see if they have anything maybe that you want to review or discuss with someone. Now, the makerspace is always a cool thing to check out. Or if you want to, maybe they have like a young adults March Madness, little artists. So look at calendars at different places, see if any press releases are talking about something. You can also go, let's say, like on Twitter, and we want to, I think, so sometimes whenever you type the name of a certain place, you can actually go in and find a city's social media page. So for example, place outside of Lafayette, you could check the Opelousas City Hall page, see if what they've published recently. Not that much. Looks like it's from last year. But this is an example. You go through these different pages, or maybe if you see a person's name mentioned in a news article or something, you can look up their pages, and most of the stuff is posted online now. It makes it a lot easier to sort through everything, see if there's something worth covering. So, like, since it's Thursday, they do a lot of places publish Throwback Thursday pictures or different things. If something happened in the past and there's a way for you to link it to the present in kind of an immediate fashion, then it is okay usually as a news story. But remember, you need to keep in mind the why should this matter to me now information. So if it's something that isn't necessarily immediate, find a way to link it to whatever you have happening right now. when you're reviewing, again, press releases, you can even go to specific companies. Maybe the local branch of Walmart is doing something special this weekend, or maybe their social media page had, Target social media page has something up, or even better, a lot of times if you go to a local restaurant or a local store, you can talk to them about their business. Maybe there's something happening right now that you want to highlight. So think about places you frequent as another source of information. And you can talk to shop owners or people working there as, your professional contacts. And you can also look at research organizations, maybe Pew Research, JSTOR and EBSCO again are places where you can look at stuff. There's also this website, the Journalist Toolbox. And they offer a lot of helpful suggestions on different ways you can search for information or write about particular topics. As you can see, they're highlighting data journalism, digital and social media. And they do talk about other things like video and stuff. But for right now, in this class, we're focusing on the writing aspect of it. And whenever you're considering someone for an interview, remember you need to think about their relationship to the topic. Do they have a professional understanding? Is it someone who works with that particular subject, like with a marine biologist? Is it someone who actually knows about phytoplankton, or is it someone who really works more with other animals like whales or something? Or is it, for example, if you were talking about maybe the increase in online therapy, you might talk to someone who is a local therapist, and maybe they started offering online therapy to people recently. And if, for example, you were trying to do that and you said, well, I can't get in touch with any therapists, I don't know any people over here, look at UL's website. The Wellness Center actually has people over there. And so you would be able to maybe get in touch with them and see if they were able to discuss that topic with you. You can also, of course, talk to people who have a personal relationship with the topic. Maybe they were affected by heavy rains recently, like if their house flooded again after a heavy rain, or if you had someone who, again, with the like the online therapy example, if it's someone who wants to share and they're saying, hey, yeah, I was able finally to discuss my issues with someone, and it was so much better using online therapy, and it was still covered by my insurance or whatever. So you want someone, not just a random person on the street, but we're looking for people who have at least some level of understanding or opinion related to the topic, who have well, not just an opinion, but someone who has an informed opinion. So think about how a person is related to the topic, and then that'll help you figure out whether or not they're a good person to interview, and if they would be more of a professional or a personal person on the street type of interview. And of course, since you do want to finish your project on time, make sure they are easily accessible. You want to be able to contact them preferably in person, but of course, phone and email can work as well. And that's another reason to think of local businesses, people you might kind of know because they work at that coffee shop where you go every week, or maybe they work in the university library, or you see them in the park pretty often or something. So friends, family, acquaintances, those people can often offer a lot of additional information. Sometimes you realize that you do know a family member who works in the field you're covering. And so they are actually able to be your professional contact. So think about the people you know and the places you go, and then it'll help you realize that you actually do know people who can offer information for your topics. And of course, my recommendation for interviews is to conduct them as soon as possible. Don't worry about having the perfect person or the perfect information. The best thing to do is make sure that it's done. So still do some background work, look up a couple of articles about your topic, or, whatever sources you need. Sometimes a podcast might work a little better, but gain some level of understanding yourself about it, write down the questions you have, and then talk to people who can answer your questions. Then whenever you are developing your story, of course, you also want to make sure that you have that new now next mindset. This project, most of your projects are focusing on things that are happening right now and things that will happen in the future. So make sure that you're keeping that forward motion happening, even if you're talking about something where it's the 20th anniversary of whatever. You're collecting new information related to that topic, whether it's an interview with someone who maybe was there for a particular event, or who can offer some level of insight about something that happened. So keep that in mind whenever you are looking at topics and you're developing your ideas. You might revise what you're doing a few times based on either your interviews or the information you find, and that's okay. It's supposed to be kind of a work in progress until you finalize your article and you turn it in. Now, for your writing project, remember you do have 2 interviews, so you need 1 direct quote from each interview. You're looking for 2 outside sources. These people should, your 2 outside sources are not your interviews. So the interviews where you're getting direct quotes, those are a separate thing, but you are incorporating that information into your other research. Your other research should come from reliable sources, and you're using that information to write your own article. You aren't just copying what other people already did, you're adding to the conversation. And remember, you do need to use the APA reference format. I'm reviewing some of your work, and I noticed that a lot of people seem to not really understand, or maybe didn't look at the examples available. Here's another link. Again, please look at the examples, see how a reference page is formatted and how these references are formatted as well. And a reminder, your chapter 9 and 10 writing project is due on Sunday, And your chapter 11 quiz is also due on Sunday.